The number of recall events in 2025 marked a 9-year high for FDA recalls, with undeclared allergens, bacterial contamination, and foreign material as leading causes for all food recalls. To discuss such trends and what food facilities can do to prevent and prepare for recalls, I, your host, Lisa Lupo, welcome TAG President and CEO Dr. David Acheson. Welcome, David.
Thanks, Lisa. Look forward to the conversation.
Yeah, so let's just start with what we already mentioned, undeclared allergens, bacterial contamination, foreign material. Why do these tend to show up over and over as the cause of recalls?
Well, it's a great question, and it's an accurate statement because they do. And the answer in simple terms is because they're hard to control. And
Okay.
it- they are the things that cause the serious public health issues. Recalls are driven by situations that are trying to protect the public.
Okay.
And the bigger the risk, the higher the profile of the recall. Whether there's a press release, whether the media get a hold of it. And so obviously certain allergens, life-threatening situations, foreign materials, less life-threatening, but I think more impactful on people's reaction to food because people don't want foreign material in food any more than they want bacteria. And finally, the bacteria, which is kind of the silent killer. Obviously, you don't see it, you don't notice it, and 2 or 3 days later after you've consumed something, particularly if you're a susceptible person and it's got Listeria, Salmonella, E. coli in it of various types, the consequences can be deadly. So those are the things that get the attention and are the high profile items, vis-a-vis sort of technical recalls where there's something in there that shouldn't be, it's not going to cause any harm, but it's illegal, so it's a regulatory breach.
Okay. So it's sometimes said that an increase in recalls actually means that food is increasingly safer for consumers. So how can that be?
I know, isn't that a conundrum? I mean, it's like there's more recalls, and the immediate reaction is, well, the food supply is getting less safe. Well, let's sort of think about a recall because the majority of recalls that happen involve a lot of food in which there's no illness. They are really sort of preventive strategies. They're preventive events that are designed to try to pull food off the marketplace before anybody eats it or before anybody gets sick. Um, Now, that involves then lots and lots of product that is essentially sitting in a warehouse or hasn't been shipped, or is sitting on a retail shelf that gets pulled off to protect consumers. Or it might involve a press release that goes out and say, hey, don't eat this stuff. And you're thinking, oh, darn, I just bought that yesterday. So, but
Right.
I better not eat it because now there's a warning. So from that perspective, one can think about recalls as, yes, they are reactive to bad situations. And sometimes there's absolutely illnesses and deaths involved with recall product. But one can also think about the fact that it's a company getting out in front and pulling product off the shelf before anybody is exposed to it. So that's how one can look at recalls and say, well, they're actually good things. I mean, clearly they're not from a company perspective, financially or reputationally, they're horrible, which is why you want to avoid them. So,
Okay.
strategy number one is avoid them. Strategy number two, if you're going to do them quickly and do efficiently, and do it in a way that you will protect people, and therefore it is a bit of a preventive strategy.
Okay. So kind of along those same lines, what are some companies doing to try to make that food safer from the start rather than having to recall something that slipped through?
Well, that's a very broad question, and it's really sort of looking at every aspect of your food safety control programs, beginning with supply chain, where you're sourcing things, whether you're using ingredients that you're receiving and are not going to further process to reduce risks. So supply chain risk control is a huge part of controlling that risk. And often recalls are triggered because the supplier makes a mistake. It's
Okay.
like you receive something in all innocence, you use it, thinking it's perfectly good. Then the supplier realizes they've shipped you something with a problem. You get the message, and then you have to do the recall. So supply chain is key. And then obviously everything within the manufacturing and processing environment, following your food safety plans, following your HACCP plans, whatever it is, to control those risks, making sure you're doing it right. Traceability is a huge part of this, knowing where your inventory is, knowing what you've used for what, which ingredient you used in which finished product, and knowing where it is in your system. Is it still under your control? Is it a distribution center? Has it gone out to consumer levels? Um, all of those are sort of key. And then we'd mentioned allergens initially and often the problem there is a mislabeling. So
Okay.
paying strict attention to the way you control labels. But preventing recalls is all about having a really good food safety program from beginning to end.
Okay. So even though you do all that, recalls do happen.
They
So how do
do.
you prepare for that?
They do happen. And, I've used the adage many times, and it's things that bad things can happen to good companies. And however good your program is, I can guarantee you something will go wrong. It's going to happen.
Right.
Um, you want to catch it early. You want to act swiftly. So to get to your question about how do you handle these situations, um, the first thing to do is make sure that you've got the right people involved with the right sort of thinking and the right program. So having a recall plan, as it's called, who's going to get involved. Speed of escalation is really key. The decision makers in the company are not likely to be the first ones that hear about a problem. It's going to be somebody lower in the organization, and training those individuals to escalate quickly so that if there is a problem, you can get on it fast
Okay.
and potentially control the amount of product that's implicated, control where it's gone quickly, and get that message out fast. So create a plan, the right people with the right thinking, and then train on it, practice it. Um, and that's really important. Every recall is a little different. It might involve people getting sick. It might not. It might be a regulatory problem. It might be a supplier who calls you with a problem. It might be that you get a bunch of consumer complaints, and
Mhm.
so that links into having a good process for root cause analysis, so that you can say with absolute confidence is this is when the problem began and this is when it ended. This is the bucket on bookends, as I call them, around the implicated product,
Okay.
so that you got on it fast. But have a plan, right people, right skill set and thinking, and practice it.
Okay. So how does TAG assist clients in both the proactive and reactive recall management?
In multiple ways. First of all, we work with food companies to try to make sure that the programs that they've got to reduce the likelihood of a contamination event are as good as they can get. So back to what I said earlier, supply chain risk control, internal programs, traceability, um, cleaning, sanitation, all those programs. So step one is let's make the food as safe as we can up front. So we do a lot to support companies on that part. Second is to help companies create, if they don't have them, recall plans. The written document, what does it look like? Who's up first? Do you have everything contained in one place? So create the recall plan. And then the third element is we regularly do crisis or recall simulations with companies. And an important differentiator there, this is not just a traceback exercise. Companies do those regularly, or they should,
Mhm.
where you just sort of say, well, how quickly can we trace product X? We've got a lot code. How quickly can we do it? I call that a traceability exercise. A recall exercise is bigger than that. It gets into the escalation process in the company, testing that. How quickly does that work? How effective is your consumer complaint operation that if you get 4 complaints on the same product and you
Mm.
normally get maybe one a year and you get four in a week, something's up. So practicing and testing that escalation process, practicing and testing the decision making, looking at your skills on root cause analysis, looking at your traceability programs. That then links into, do you have the right people to make the decisions? Is it going up to the right level? Is it the CEO? Is it the board? Who's making the decisions? All of that gets practiced.
Okay.
Um, and then obviously the regulatory interactions get practiced, as do the communications part of it. If you do have to do something, then the comms is key in terms of protecting that reputation. And it is possible to survive a recall and come out the other side. I won't say better, but minimally worse,
Okay.
because you've survived it. And often, a consumer or another business partner will look at a company and say, wow, they really did that well. Like I said, they're a good company. Bad things happen to good companies. You're going to get a recall.
All right.
You may never have had one. You may think you never will, but you will. So be prepared, and we can help you do that.
Okay. So I want to thank you for all your insights on what can be a challenging event, especially if the company isn't prepared. So would there be any kind of last words of wisdom for our audience today?
I think practice
Okay.
recall is the where this all lands. I mean, all of these are fundamental programs, but you know, build your recall plan and don't wait until you have to use it for real to practice it.
Okay. All right. Thank you again, David. We hope we've given you all some insights into current recall trends and how to both prevent and prepare for potential recalls. And for more information or assistance, please reach out to TAG through email at info@achesongroup.com, phone 1-800-401-2239, or visit our website at achesongroup.com. Thank you.
Thanks.